Welcome to Workshop Wednesday. This is What's New, April 2023. Welcome. My name is Julie Brody, the Director of Measurement for MeasurementMarketing.io. I've been building dashboards since 2007, been part of the MeasurementMarketing.io team since 2015, and been teaching measurement basically ever since 2017. And so you've been seeing me back there with the Academy as an instructor with our courses, some of our workshops, and with the Ask an Instructor support, which I like to say we have an amazing team of instructors back there. So if you have any questions, you're an Academy member already, let us know, and we are always happy to help. So as you go through this one particular workshop, remember your one thing. With a What's New workshop, you're going to have lots of new stuff coming at you. So remember the one thing, take it, make it your own, something that you can take action on today, then come back, watch it again, and get something else. So let's go ahead and get started with What's New, April 2023. So as we start, we want to make sure that we remember our framework, the measurement marketing framework. We always start with this just because it kind of helps us set our mind on where we're going, where we are, and kind of where we've been. So with our framework, we have plan, build, and launch. And inside of this, we want to make sure that we're going from marketing in the blind to being able to market so we're reliably growing those revenue and profits. So kind of having that chaotic marketing to kind of knowing what's working, what's not. That's our goal. And so we start with our questions, our information, and action. So meaning we make sure we're asking the right questions so we can take the correct action. Then in our build step, we need to know the results, traffic, and story. A lot of what we learn about in the What's New involves this build step. Can we do stuff easier? Is more stuff available to us? How do we get, more information to build a better story? All of these things kind of come together with this step of the framework. Then we go on to listen, forecast, and optimize. That means we're listening to the story, we're forecasting off of that, and then we're optimizing, and then we probably will go through the whole framework over and over and over again. So that's just a quick reminder of this framework. And if you want to know more, you're like, ooh, this is something really cool, don't worry, at the very end, I'll tell you how to get this for a free course for free. What's new in April 2023? We'll start off with our Google Analytics 4. So let's jump in to see what's going on in Google Analytics. The very first thing that we're going to take a look at is kind of what's been mentioned with Google Ads. And it's technically not even anything that's happening inside of Google Analytics 4, but it's happening inside the Google Ads platform. So you'll want to make sure that you are linking your Google Ads accounts to wherever they need to be linked to your different properties, so that you're able to take advantage of the features that are coming up. Basically, they're saying you're going to start being able to build audiences inside of Google Ads. There are going to be probably some other features and other things that you're going to be able to do inside the Google Ads platform. So not inside analytics, but inside Google Ads. But you need to have the data here. You need to have certain things set up. So you don't have to necessarily set up your audiences here in the future. So this is just kind of like a little warning. Hey, make sure you have Google Ads linked, everything, and you start having all of your events and the things that you want Google Ads to see, that you want to be able to retarget with, and all those different behaviors. Make sure that you're linked up, and make sure you start kind of thinking like a marketer how you would want to be able to utilize that feature, that being able to stay inside Google Ads. What kind of events do you need to have set up? What kind of audiences will you want? What kind of conversions do you need? Think through all that. Go through the framework again on this and make sure that you're ready, so once they start releasing those features, you'll be good to go. Another really important thing that we want to talk about as we are here in this particular section, you have your data settings here, and just released just a few weeks ago, so you should see this by now. We weren't seeing it for about 2 weeks, but now we finally do. It's called channel groups, and this is where you can start adjusting your different channels. Before, up until now, you were only able to have your default channel group, and so it's just where you can come through here and decide what is going to be called a paid shopping versus cross network, whatever it is, your different definition of what it is that you'll need to call those. You still have to have a really good grasp on your UTMs and understanding the different traffic, and you still have to have, events and conversions and all those other different things set up to get a useful truth out of those. So don't just kind of set up your channels and kind of think you're done. You absolutely still have to go through all of those other processes to understand those different behaviors, and you still have to understand what UTMs are. And that's all covered in When Google Analytics for Basics. If you're an Academy member, you can go watch that course to understand UTMs, and then you come through here and customize your channels. The other fun thing that happens is if you go into your custom definitions, and then you can come into, we're going to create one, and then we're going to choose, we don't have anything that says an item scoped. However, if we come up to this little question mark and click on learn more, we can see these different options of what we have here and kind of go through. Item scope was added. And since we don't have any data coming through that's an item scope, we're not seeing the option here. However, if you have something that's item scoped, and that kind of think of more that might be a little bit more of an e-commerce thing, possibly, depending on how your measurement's set up. But you now have item scoped and custom dimensions that you're able to utilize there. And here are your limits. Most of us are probably here unless you're paying for it, and then you have these options there. So that's a little heads up note. We're going to be playing with some different ideas because we're obviously not an e-commerce site. Like, well, how can we utilize this item thing? And so we're toying with some ideas. And as we have some new cool things to do with that, we will definitely keep you posted and updated on that. And then finally, the next thing that does not apply to us normal people that have the regular free account, like remember the standard one, if you do have the paid account, you have access to something called subproperties. So we have our property, and then the paid people have subproperties. They did expand that a limit, but like I said, most of us don't have that option. So just kind of a heads up. Who knows if they'll allow that for us normal people that are not paying for it. But just know that there is something called a subproperty, and currently that is only for those that are paying for Google Analytics, or what they call Google Analytics 360. And it's just an example of some of those other things, so they get more limits or brought bigger limits and stuff. So that is your Google Analytics 4 updates inside the platform. Before we move on to the next platform, I want to make a quick note that Shopify, obviously a pretty big platform, now has their native integration to Google Analytics 4. And, we are huge fans of other tools like Elevar and stuff because it always made it so much easier when we were working with inside of, trying to get Tag Manager and all these other things to work together. So while we're still absolutely fans of using the tool Elevar or other ones like it, we have heard great things about the Shopify native integration. So they did a good job on it. So definitely look at it and kind of see if it fits your needs and what you need, and go from there. If you have any questions, let us know and ask Constructor Support for those of you that are Academy members, and we'll help guide you on which option might be better for you. All right, now coming into what's new for Google Tag Manager. There is a lot of things that happen for Google Tag Manager, but it's one of those things that probably won't apply to quite a few of you. And so that is server side. So a lot of server side updates. I'm just showing you the log just so you can see, like, wow, a lot of things are happening with server side. And so if you are using server side, and if you're using anything like Floodlight or these other more advanced tools, you absolutely need to come through here and go through and see these applies to you. I'm not going to go through any of these updates because a lot of them won't apply to the mass majority of our audience, and it can vary from case to case, and I don't want someone to hear something and realize it doesn't apply to them. One really quick important reminder for server side, and a lot of people will see this like, oh, I'm going to learn server side instead of learning Google Tag Manager. You can't do that. And a super quick note, there is server side and then there's client side. And so if you don't know client side, which would be like the regular Google Tag Manager, you absolutely cannot go to server side. So you have to be an expert inside of Google Tag Manager before you go into server side. That's just going to make it a whole lot easier for you, and it's going to go more fluid, and you can't do one without the other. You cannot do server side without client side. You cannot do server side without the basics of Tag Manager. So that's just a real quick note in case anyone's coming in here like, oh, I'll just do server side and skip all the other stuff. You cannot do it. And we've seen that as a big mistake a lot of people make. So you absolutely cannot do that. So it's just your little friendly reminder that there's been quite a few updates for server side. If this applies to you, please make sure that you stay up to date on those different options and all that. So next up is our Looker Studio updates, and there's a couple things that happen in here. Fun story, I was traveling when these updates were happening and actually caused some issues. So one of those fun things was inside, this is a demo report, and one of the things was this, and it's actually nowhere on their documentation that they did this, but we were like literally when I'm in the airport trying to get on a plane, client saying, hey, it's not working, and like I'm opening up on my tablet, it's not cached or anything, and it's working fine for me. And the reason I believe it was working fine is I was coming through it. I'm going to come into Looker Studio. I was coming in and clicking on it from here, and they were clicking on an old link. On around the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, that whole week, Looker was having lots of slow issues. It was just weird. And then everything kind of went down on that Wednesday, Thursday. And so what they did is this used to say datastudio.google.com, even though it's been Looker for almost a year now, but they didn't change the domain of your actual documents. Those documents have now been switched over to lookerstudio.google.com. So if you have an old link or something like that into a spreadsheet or something, it should redirect you. Like I didn't have any issues with anything redirecting me, but maybe it happened while I was in the air, and by the time I came back down, it was fine. But we don't know if that was the reason what was going on for our client, or maybe it was just rolling out and not all of them were redirecting. So if you have any issues with like an old link not working, I would suggest you come in to your regular Looker Studio in here, find the report, click on it, and this should not have to redirect anything. It's going to tell you exactly what it is. And so that way you can go into lookerstudio.google.com and have the correct link, then go through and update all of your links for your clients and stuff like that so they don't accidentally click on the wrong one that may or may not redirect properly for them. So that's just a little side note that is nowhere in any update. So I just want to let you know that. The update that did happen inside of March, we're going to let you know real quick. So back to those item things. So with those item updates that we talked about with Google Analytics 4, the other thing that happened is inside of Looker, and it's going to show you that the old name used to be add to carts, and then they just change it a little bit more reader user friendly for those, just so be aware of those. So if you're looking for something, it might be called something else now. So just kind of be aware of that. Then we're going to come up to the next one that changed. Then this has actually been here for a while. I'm not quite sure why they put this into a March update. I believe we mentioned to you before. We're just going to show you what they're talking about. I'm going to come in here and edit, and you see all the things here. And so if I search for user, it's going to show up all of them here. And this is what their update is saying, like, hey, you're going to see all of them. This has been here for a while, and we've mentioned in a previous What's New, but we're just going to let you know, hey, they're finally telling us about it. So, but it is really, really, really useful. And also something they've mentioned before, and we've put in here into your What's New workshops before, is you can choose which ones you want to see and get rid of them. That was probably one of my favorite updates last quarter. But yes, very good to be able to use that. So, and then finally, this is actually the update they posted when everything was crashing and Twitter was going crazy and everything was going on, is they basically allowed your line charts to have the same, you can align your axes. So this one is saying your axis is not 0. So this one's a -2 and this one's a 2. So it doesn't tell a very useful story. And then here they are. And that's just coming into over here into your data tab where we just close them. We can choose any one of these little charts. We're going to choose this one, see if we can have that. And we need our data tab to actually show up. And our properties tab, there we are. It used to be data and style, so we still have those old names. And so this is where you can align both areas to 0. We only have one line, so it's not going to do anything. But that is where you would find that under your properties. and then setup. Then we have your choose your style, and then you would go there for that. And again, this is the update they told us about for inside of Data Studio when all those changes were happening, but they didn't mention the other stuff. And then we had mentioned this before with another what's new, but you will want to be aware that Google Ads Manager, they're deprecating certain category and dimensions. So just kind of be aware of that and see you will eventually not have access to those anymore. So just be aware of that. And so that is what's new for Looker Studio. Coming up next is what's new for the Measurement Marketing Academy. And I'm actually really excited about this one is because we have a new course coming through. First, let's see what kind of courses we've just updated. So we're coming into our Measurement Marketing Academy, and this is what is actually already in there. We'll talk about the new course here in just a second. So we come into our Win courses, and this is by date, and we are in the process of finishing up our update to Win Google Tag Manager Beyond Basics, and we have just finished up Win Google Analytics Beyond Basics. So we're on the rotation of about every 3 to 4 weeks, there's an update or a brand new course back here. And obviously we record everything live as well. We're going to have some that are going to eventually be pre-recorded just so we can get them out to you faster. But just if you want to participate live, just let us know. As those Academy members, you'll get a notice about a week prior. And you can see them on the calendar as well. And so you'll be aware of when those are coming out. So we have your calendar of everything else that's happening going on inside of our Measurement Marketing Academy. Now I get to tell you about the fun new course that I'm super excited to tell you about that is coming soon to the Measurement Marketing Academy that we recorded live the first week of May. So mark your calendars, first week of May. We're going to have Win Building a Measurement Marketing Agency. So this is something we get asked about all the time. And so we're going to go ahead and make it a course for you. So that is what's new 2023. So what was your one thing? Was it the fact that you need to go make sure that Google Ads is linked and start having all those events set up there so you can utilize them? I really hope that might have been your one thing because that is really important. Time is of the essence right now, and you want to make sure all of that is set up and ready to go so when you need it, you can use it. So make sure that you hit the button, subscribe, and we will make sure that you're always up to date on what's new month to month. Every first Wednesday of the month, we will tell you what's going on in the measurement marketing world. So remember your measurement marketing framework. I told you that you would be able to find a free course on that, on all of the ins and outs of everything, all these parts and pieces, and how you can take advantage of the measurement marketing framework. And that is by becoming a free Measurement Marketing Academy Toolbox member. You get access to all of our free exclusive tools, as well as the free course that I just mentioned, the Measurement Marketing Framework. All you have to do is come in and join. You can show the link right there is measure.tips/getacademy. Obviously, if you want to become an Academy member and have access to Ask Instructor support and become a paid member, you have options there as well with that link too. And so just let us know that you have questions, so we'll be happy to help you out. See you next time. Take care.